but we are live and ready for our next weekly Wednesday webinar. Wow, the overall market has been crazy. The last 2 days, woo! It's honestly amazing to watch. It really is amazing just to see the movement of the market. It's a lot of fun. It's entertaining, and honestly, I'm a little disappointed that I haven't been able to take advantage of a couple of these SPY moves because it's been very, very volatile. And it's kind of lined up to our moves too, because we had like multiple downward red days, which as a sniper, we do see that. And then we had also the multiple uptrend days. So both of that happened, which that's a beauty. That's exactly what you want to see. And that's the kind of plays that we play. So after the downtrending day, we could have played that first green day off 390. And then after that 4 green days in a row, we could have played the first red day. So, I mean, it's been pretty volatile. And with the volatility brings opportunity, guys. And as a sniper, we're really setting you guys up for success. We play mainly OTC stocks. We do jump into listed stocks a lot. I mean, not a lot, but every once in a while we have been diving in now that we're expanding more, especially opening up the group that we have now. So we have been expanding a little bit, checking out our different options with the different, I mean, we got a little more funds in our account, so now we can kind of play around more. So it's nice to can expand some more, but the goal is for you guys to be able to create your own strategy with our patterns. And because what we had in our past experience, the patterns that we find end up giving you the nice percentage gains. And then if you end up cutting your losses like you should, they also give you a nice downside. So with that being said, the market, when it did make that turn on the way up after 7 straight down days and then 4 green days, you could have been buying these puts or even buying the TQQ or SQQ, whatever travels in that opposite direction or the same direction of the QQQ. And you could have been flipping that. But let's get this thing started. So let's dive in to our weekly Wednesday webinar. And this week, we're going to be going over September 14th from September 8th. So September 8th to September 14th. I got the sniper on there this week as our main photo. And why I decided to make that our theme, we do obviously call ourselves the snipers. And this is really when we coin ourselves the snipers, guys. It is taking advantage of what you got, because this market has been rough. I would say the past September. So the past 2 weeks, we've been dealing with not as much out there in the OTC stocks. And unfortunately, we've been bag holding, which we're going to be going over that a lot at the end of this webinar. That's going to be the highlight of this webinar. It's kind of the emotions and what you kind of deal with when you are bag holding stocks. It is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. And it kind of shows us that we aren't perfect. And nobody is perfect in this game. And it kind of shows you guys that everybody's human. So if this did happen to any of you guys, or if you guys have bag holds, it makes you, we'll get out of this together, and we'll talk about that later on. So I did put, like I said, I put the sniper there because we got to start sniping. We got to remember to get back to our precise sniping personality like we have, making sure we get the right spots. And then when we get the right spots, making sure we get out at the right spots at the downside and the upside. So we always talk about our journey when we get started. And for those of you guys that are new, this will be new to you. If you guys have been here before, you've heard this. Started all the way back in 2016, back in Dunkin' Donuts. It was a local crew. That's the local crew of us. It was over like 12 of us. Eventually got to like 15. And after that happened, it grew. And with it continuing to grow, we decided we want to bring this to an online community. And we actually went to one of Timothy Sykes' conventions. And when we were there, we actually realized that we kind of had a little following there already. A lot of people were asking about us and stuff, and it was pretty fun. So it was a cool little experience, and it was also mind-opening. And we realized, hey, let's try to start something online and see if we can start a community of everybody can start making money together. And we did that in 2018, and here we are today, 4 years later, with a couple snipers now that are over $100,000. And us personally now, we're getting over to that mark of 257. So we're getting really close to 260. That's our new big number we're looking for. We crossed over 250K. I didn't even make a post about it. I'm gonna have to post about that 250K. But great work as a whole, squad. I would not be able to do this without you guys. We are at 257, but we're bag holding 2 stocks right now. That is probably gonna drop. Nucky. Sorry about that. If you hear him crying, that is probably gonna drop just slightly, I would say. Maybe, though, maybe we'll get some wins on the way before we back hold, or maybe these stocks will bounce. Either way, though, we'll celebrate where we're at right now, and that is 257,221. Great work, guys. 260 next. Like I said, that'll be our next big celebration. But the biggest thing I always like to point out is we did this with 1,070 plus losses. So that's really the beauty about this. Everybody's going to lose in this game. There's no way you can avoid losing. I like to compare it to golf because nobody can be perfect in golf. And in the stock market, nobody could be perfect. So compare that to golf. That's how I kind of look at it. In this game, you can have Warren Buffett, the richest guy, the best trader in the world, but he can still make tons of mistakes. He can still lose tons of money. And it's all about how you react to the mistakes that you make and how you bounce back, So I always like to say it's not about how you fall. It's all about how you get back up. But 1,070 losses, still 257K loss, or 70K in profit. If we can do it, guys, you can do it too. And here's a little win streak we always talk about because it's still alive. It's not dead yet. It actually lasted almost a full year. So we had 27 weeks. We had about a half year done from last year, August. And then we had one losing week in all the way from February to June. And then now we're in September. So this whole 3 slides right here. Nucky, chill. Nucky. What are you doing? Sorry about that, guys. So those 3 slides right here is about a year and a month, and that equals only losing 3 weeks. So that's really, really great work all together as a team, guys. Let's keep up the hard work. Hot sectors is something that we really like to take advantage of. I'd say most of that profit of 257K comes from a hot sector. So yeah, this is the grit and the grind that you guys are seeing right now. The past 2 weeks, it's just the grind of it. We'll make like 7 to 10% every once in a while. Then we'll lose about 3 to 5%. And that's just what it is about this stock game. But when you do start to get a really hot sector momentum, or when you really start to get volatility, I mean, right now we have the market going down, so that's not the best volatility we like, but it is volatility. But when you do start to get volume and you start to get movement in certain specific, we call them sectors, but I would say current events in the world, that would actually bring a lot of momentum. And when you play these sniper patterns with the momentum, you usually are able to make a good amount of money. So we always like to highlight what was hot and what was not on the week. And there really wasn't anything because, like I said, the market was going down. And also, don't forget, we had a shorter holiday week last week. And we had Monday off for Labor Day. And usually on those shorter weeks, we always say it, and I know we bring it up a lot in the chat, but we say it for a reason because we really don't want to get ourselves in trouble, even though we kind of did a little bit during that week. But it's all about staying patient in those times, in those slower weeks, because the volume is lighter. We actually took a trip to Atlanta, and people do take vacations. That's what those long weekends are for. So usually sometimes people take a little longer vacation than just Monday off, and the volume just tends to be lighter. Volume is people like me and you buying the stock. So if there's no people like us buying the stocks are not going to move. So that also what happened last week. So no really hot sector, but we did create 2 new hot sector videos out there just so you can create a watch list for both these sectors when they do come back, because these are both sectors we really made a good amount of money on when they were around. So go check those videos out on YouTube if you have not checked them out yet, or in your trade reviews section. It's about Bitcoin stocks and cannabis stocks. Just create a watch list. Have one master watch list with every stock we bring up, but then I also want you to have a Bitcoin stock watch list and a cannabis stock watch list, and then a coronavirus stock watch list, with that's pretty much dead. But oil stocks, you have a watch list for that. So we'll have more watch list videos coming out, but make sure to go check those videos out if you haven't yet. And now let's dive into the week. Let's dive into what we are here for, to talk about stocks. So great week. We almost had $1,000, but we ended up losing $375 today. But still, good week, guys. 928, so just under $1,000, winning more than we lost. So 4 of 6 of our trades, even though it was a slower week, we still were swinging the bat. We just were kind of making, like I said, about 7 to 8%. Our biggest win was right about 6-7%. So it wasn't the best kind of percent-wise gains, but still, if you're able to win more than you lose, and get good with cutting your losses, you are going to end up profiting here. And that's a perfect example is this week. So we'll dive into our biggest win to start off, and then we'll go into our biggest loss, and then I got some bonus extra stuff we'll go into extra. So let's dive into our biggest win. And our biggest win is PILBF. And it's great because our biggest win and our biggest loss we're going to go over is the same sniper pattern. So if you're new here, we only play 3 sniper long patterns. And if you're new, that's really all we want you to focus on is those 3 patterns. The first one being a first green day. That's one that a lot of people are able to identify first, and they like to play a lot. We play it the most. The second one is a multi-month breakout, and that's this play right here. And the longer the breakout, the more appetizing it is to the snipers. And what I mean by that is a 52-week breakout is a really nice looking chart, and then a 6-month breakout is nice, but we don't like it as nice as 52. And 3-month breakout is not as nice as a 6-month or 52. So the longer the breakout, we say the more appetizing, and we like to go after that. And with both of these plays that I'm about to go over with you in our biggest win and in our biggest loss, they actually are both 52-week breakouts. So this is going to be a perfect example of how we were able to make $200, winning $500 and then losing $300. So nice little example of not even a great momentum, not even a big win, but still able to profit with 1 win and 1 loss with the same type of pattern. So PILBF, we'll go over our win first, and then we'll dive into the loss. Thinkorswim's been having issues lately with the webinar, so I started to take pictures of these stocks. I'll zoom into them. I will zoom into them for you guys to see them better, but this is what we got here. We got some photos. So PILBF is what we're looking at. And if you check it out, he's trying to get to me over here, right? I'm not letting him. If you check it out, what you really want to see is what is that breakout spot. And I kind of created a line here. Now it's 285. So now you guys can see the line. We got 285. That is the breakout spot that we want to pay attention to. This green day is the day we buy it. And what you want really when a stock breaks out is you want the stock to break out of that spot, of whatever spot you're looking for. And this was what's great about this stock is it was a multi-month breakout and a 52-week breakout, and we had it on the watch list. So it was a weekly watcher, I'm pretty sure, or we had it on the watch list. We definitely were looking at this one, and it broke out of this spot, and it broke out of that spot. So 2 different spots. Naki, chill out. Stop. 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 Sorry about that, guys. So 2 different kind of spots here that we're looking at. We're looking at the 285 spot, and then we're also looking at the 280 spot. But 285 is the key. That's the 52-week breakout. That's what we want to see it break. And then once it breaks that spot, what's really, really good to see and what shows you that you have nice potential is if it's able to hold that. Naki. Sorry about that, guys. I might have to take him down. What are you doing? Go. Get out of here. Sorry. Get. All right. So 285 is what we want to see it break, then what we want to see it hold. So a lot of people wonder what resistance is. Resistance, 52-week resistance right there. If we could break above that resistance and then never come back below it, that is so healthy. And check it out. So when I dive in, here's the line right here at 285. So when we have the line at 285, all right, I'm going to bring him downstairs. Sorry about this, guys. Come on, Naki. You got to go downstairs. Sorry about this, guys. Naki, come here. Come here. Come here. Naki, come here. What are you doing? Stop. Stop. Just so you guys can see the cute guy. Here he is. It's getting big now. Here's my boy. His name is Naki. He is a French bulldog, 8 months old. He's my lover. He trades with me now. He's the new sniper. He's the newest sniper. He'll take over. He takes over the chat room every once in a while. You see him in there. Look at this guy. He's a puppy. He's a big guy now though. He's actually 30 pounds. It's crazy. These dogs get huge. You good, bud? Okay. He says, see you guys. All right, I'm going to give him one last chance. I'm going to give you one last chance up here with me. Stop. All right, that was a little intermission for you guys, a dog break. Every once in a while, we got to get a dog break in. I let him stay up here because sometimes when I bring him down there, he takes a pee. You know, he's a young dog. Can't go coming back downstairs back to pee. That's the most annoying thing. All right, I'm gonna have to edit this webinar now and cut all this dog stuff. But all right, let's get this thing going. Let's get back. Sorry about that, guys. So our biggest win there, PILBF. What I was talking about is you want to see the breakout and then you want to see the hold of the breakout. And 285 was that spot. That's the line I have, and I kept that line there for both pictures. So I have the 285 line still here. And if you look at the beautiful breakout, you have volume that honestly, who's ever going to be able to catch this? Never. But what we're going to be able to catch is that breakout. So now we have the breakout. It gets rejected there. That's exactly what you want to see. Light volume hold, and then the breakout. And this is a really light volume breakout. But the key is I had an alert at 284, and I'm ready for this breakout. So once it does break out, I did not buy that spot because the volume is very light here. And with OTC stocks, we usually like to see $200,000 or more in dollar volume, which that's a YouTube video I'm going to have to come out with very soon. I'm sorry about that. I still haven't came out with that video. Forgot about that actually, but that is definitely a video I'm going to have to come out with, is this total volume dollars to add. And this is pretty cool. It calculates for you how much it is on the day, and we like to see $200,000 or more. So with this, it wasn't at $200,000 yet, so we didn't buy it, but we did get the breakout. After the breakout, what you want to see is, can it hold that spot? And yes, it holds it perfectly. It never actually drops below that spot. So you get the breakout, and then you get kind of a support at 286, and then it gets the next support up at 290. I mean, the volume is light. It's just kind of sporadic, and a lot of people would be like, why are you buying all the way up there? That's really not the smartest thing to do. You're literally buying at the highest spot the stock's ever been. But in the past history, what we've seen before is the stocks have been able to follow up. And with this chart, I mean, look at the beauty. It goes from here all the way from there to 323. I mean, we ended up selling it at 315, 314 because we just took that gap up. I mean, buying it right here, no stress at all. It never drops below 290, never gets close to 285, but we got two nice support spots to be our cut, and then it just gaps up perfectly like we want. And we could have held this all the way to the end of the day if we really wanted to and made a little bit more on the money, but we were happy with what we got with the gap up. Like I said, it's one of those grit and grind weeks, guys. It's one of those weeks where you really got to take the bag when you have it, especially with this market crashing the way it was and with the shorter holiday weeks. So we ended up taking the bag when we had it here, and we will move on and continue to go. So great work there in PILBF, 52-week breakout, and if you look at it, it's kind of coming back down, so ends up being a nice spot. But we'll keep it on the radar. That's why we have these alerts there, because it can curl back up. I mean, if this holds $3, curls back up, that's going to be another breakout that can happen. So we'll be keeping an eye on PILBF. Always keep everything on a master watch list. Never forget about something. Oh, sorry about that. So here we go, guys. Sorry about that. So this is what I was talking about. That 285 spot on PILBF, if you check it out, you have that line that's right there. That is 285 breakout. I put it on there, and if you guys should have been following along on your own charts while I was just talking about it, if you look at it here, there's the line I'm talking about. So light volume day, and then you have the breakout of 285. So nice looking breakout day that we played right here. Look at the gap up that you get. That's exactly what you wanted to see there, and that's exactly what we got. And the beauty about having that line there at 285, we had the alert at 284. It alerts us. Now just make sure that it can stay above that 285, and it really does. Never comes back below it. So that's our cut spot. We have it in place, bought it here, sold it here. I mean, this is like a beauty play. If it gapped up a little more and then ended up pushing, that would really be the best play that we're looking for. But this is a lighter volume stock. I mean, honestly, it hasn't really ran too crazy in the past. So we weren't looking for too much, but still, nice gap ups, nice runs, nice follow-ups in the past history. That's what you always want to check out. And that's what we got there in PILBF. So really, really nice ended up play there into PILBF. And there we go. Before, though, I don't think you guys, I'm sure most of you guys saw this, but 257K, that was the number that we are at there. And then this is the little win streak that we did from last year. So yeah, hot sectors, Bitcoin stocks, cannabis stocks. Definitely want to go check both of those out on YouTube. And here we are. So PILBF, great work there. 494, part of our biggest win on last week. Now, CLLXF was our biggest loss. It is what it is. Like I said, cut your losses and you'll end up making out on your week, even if you end up losing 3 out of 6. So even if you win ratio 50% of the time, you could still profit as long as you get good with cutting your losses. And with this, 371 we had a loss, and then 375. They were both about the same amount, the two losses that we had. But I decided to pick this one to go over because both of these were multi-month breakout plays. And I wanted to kind of review to show you guys a win with a multi-month breakout and then a loss with a multi-month breakout. So now let's go over CLLXF and the loss in a multi-month breakout play. And what's funny about CLLXF and what's pretty sketchy about it is, I mean, it had no volume for multiple days. I mean, look at the daily chart. If you check this out, you literally have days of nothing, which is pretty crazy. And then all of a sudden it has this big day. And if you look at it, I mean, these are the days I'm talking about. I mean, nothing is happening and then volume finally comes in. Now, having a great bar of volume like that is nice. It was the best volume of the whole year, and that's why we really brought our attention. It also brought our attention because we're breaking out of 205. So 205 and $2 are two key breakout spots that we want to see CLLXF hold when we buy it. So if you zoom into the day and we have that line still at 205, that's the spot we want to see it hold. Just like the stock that we just went over, and we wanted to see that hold that certain 185 or 285 spot right here in PILBF. CLLXF, we're looking for 205. So it's the same kind of stock. I mean, the same kind of pattern, just a different stock, guys. And that's really what I want to point out to you guys. We're not falling in love with any of these stocks. We're trying not to, at least. And we're really just sticking to the pattern. And if you stick to the pattern, it avoids all emotions. And if you avoid all emotions, guys, it keeps that mindset and that sniper mentality day in and day out. And it keeps you away from bag holding and really keeps you in the game and keeps you profiting week in and week out the way that we've been able to. But if you kind of have this bad mindset that you can get lazy and relaxed and maybe you're going to get a jackpot one day or maybe you're going to hit a home run, you usually end up taking a big loss. And that's kind of what happened to us. And we'll talk about that. But with this, you got to stay sharp. And same pattern, different stock. So what do we do with the same pattern? We're looking for the same type of thing. A breakout of a breakout right here, and then a hold of a breakout. So the same exact thing. So a breakout happens. Now we need the hold of the breakout. What's different about the other stock and this stock is this did not hold the breakout. And that's really what you got to realize. The other stock held that 180 or 285 spot clear. This spot 205, we ended up buying in the last 20 minutes, 30 minutes right here on this dip buy. And then at the way end of the day, it closes at about 207, but it did slightly dip below 205. So a little nervous about the next day. The next day, this is when we should have been out right away, is when we instantly got open above 205, the spot that we want to see it hold, and then the push down right away. So that's instantly a red flag. And when we get that red flag, guys, you really just kind of get out. And with us, we actually tried to stay patient with this one. And to tell you the truth, we've been a little more relaxed lately. And being more relaxed is actually going to end up causing more big losses. And big losses end up wiping your account out. So try to stay away from these large losses, guys. And that's really what's happened with us lately. Unfortunately, with two stocks that we're in right now, one of them only is just a bigger loss than we like. The other one's kind of just waiting. But still, you don't want to get relaxed, because with this, we did get relaxed. It bounced. We happy. Yeah, but then it comes right back down. And that's just all emotions, guys. There's emotions everywhere when that kind of shit happens. You really don't even know how to control it sometimes. But at the end of the day, with this stock, we ended up selling at 190. It was lower than we wanted, all the way down here. We could have easily got out at 195 or even higher than that. But it is what it is. The stock ended up dropping all the way down to 160. So, I mean, good thing we did get out where we did. Or actually, fuck, we actually did stay lazy with this one. I'm sorry. And we ended up getting out here. So this was another relaxed play where we could have lost a lot of money, but then it bounced on us and we ended up getting out here. So, whew. This one we got lucky with, guys, and I'm telling you, we've been a little more relaxed lately, and we're about to go over that after this next trade about how you don't need to be relaxed in this game. But before we dive into cutting losses and getting a little more relaxed in this game, let's talk about our bonus trade review, and it's an option trade review. I always like to talk about options whenever we do trade options, because we don't do it too often, so let's learn from them a little bit. So let's dive into this Mara option trade. It's actually a Bitcoin-related stock, and it's an example of how you can make money on Bitcoin without actually buying Bitcoin. So if you look at Mara, this first green day was beautiful, and then you had this follow-up green day here, and that's really the day that we decided to buy it and take it over the weekend. So this one was actually kind of a momentum play. It wasn't really a 1 month breakout, but I'd say about a 3-week breakout. So almost a 1 month breakout. It was holding this 1420 spot. We wanted to see it hold. And the weekend, not always do we recommend holding Bitcoin over the weekend. Why? Because Bitcoin's price moves 24/7. So if Bitcoin's price is at a certain price on Friday and the market closes, if the market now opens on Monday that next week, wherever Bitcoin's price is at, usually those Bitcoin stocks are going to react to it. So if Bitcoin's at 21,000 on Friday and then on Monday it opens up at 24,000, these stocks are going to gap up. But if it's at 21,000 and then on Monday it opens at 19,000, these stocks are going to push down. So it's volatile and it's kind of risky to take a Bitcoin stock over the weekend. But with this stock, we felt comfortable about it because Bitcoin has not bounced in a while. And honestly, it's been a sector that we've been eyeing down for a while, and we do think it's very due for a bounce. They actually have a big merger for Ethereum happening tonight and tomorrow, and whenever that's done, maybe we'll be able to get some more momentum from the Bitcoin sector. But until we get sector momentum here, this is kind of just the grit and grind and profiting from a sniper move here. So if you check out Mara, first green day to the second green day, 3-week breakout. We decided to buy it there on that 3-week breakout, and we bought it on a dip during power hour. So that's a kind of a key too. We're not chasing higher days at all. We kind of waited for a dip, and we got in right there at that dip during power hour. And then over the weekend, Bitcoin did end up following up. And like I said, we kind of are looking at Bitcoin's chart. We look at all charts just like our patterns. So the SPY, the QQQ, all that, we're looking for first green days, first red days, multi-month breakouts. It's the same with Bitcoin. It's all technical analysis that we've kind of picked up, and we're just looking for that, and it's repeating. So when you do have Bitcoins and altcoins, if you do want to go trade those guys, these patterns, I bet, still work in all those realms. And with Bitcoin, this was just really a first green day that really continued to follow up from over the weekend, and we got a nice really push the next morning, all the way up to 15. Now, we just ended up losing on Shopify. Actually lost $1,000 when we were up $400. So what we decided to do here is when we were just up almost $400 here, we decided to take that bag. And $400 on the option play, guys, is because we don't put as much money in these options. That's a good amount of percent. That's actually 40%. So once we were up 40%, we were more than happy that. And good thing we did, because look at what happened. The next day, I mean, it bounces down the whole day, and then maybe we end up holding it because it comes back. But then if you do end up holding it, pre-market, it crashes, and options don't move pre-market. So just like an OTC stocks, options are, and they would just open with a big gap down there. So not pretty at all. Where in the other instance, it opened with a big gap up when we did have that gap up. So always want to reward yourself when you're in the right situation. And let's check out the actual option daily chart. So if you look at it, this is the daily chart of the option. And I kind of like to look at them as OTC stocks. But you do want to have the support levels and the resistance levels as the regular stocks. So the regular stock right here is what you kind of want to be looking for, supports and resistance. And as you can see, 1380 was a key support spot. It held it all day there and all day here. But a resistance spot is also what you want to see. And that resistance spot was 1420. And then $14 was a spot we wanted to see it hold. So $14 key support, $14.20 we want to see it break out. That's a 20-cent range. And then $13.80 is an emergency cut. That's not the biggest range at all. And that's why we felt comfortable with this stock. We bought it on the dip. So look at this dip right here. That's where we get filled. If you look at the option, it gets a push down here. And this is actually where we get filled at 70 cents, guys. So nice dip, and that's where we get filled there. And took it over the weekend. Gets the gap up, and that's the beauty about these options is they can end up getting nice gap ups. And then we take the sell there as the gap up happens, and we get the 40%. So from 80 cents, we got out about the 120s. Really nice win, or I think 110. It did spike to the 120s. We were trying to get out, but we couldn't there, and then it ended up coming all the way down. So great work there, guys. Great move there on good old Mara, Bitcoin-related listed stock there. And there's the long-term looking chart on Mara. If you played it on this day, you literally were taking it from 10 cents to $1. That's 100% on your money. And that's the beauty about these options. These first green days on some of these Bitcoin stocks are really volatile. And we'll be watching for this to come around again because it will happen again, guys. And that's the beauty about it. That's why we're showing it to you so you can be prepared for it when it does happen next time. I like that you guys are communicating. Let's go. Keep that up. All right, and now let's talk about some of our losses here. And guys, this is really what I want to emphasize a little bit before I dive into questions and we close out this webinar is you cannot get relaxed. Lately, we've been too relaxed. I'd say way too relaxed. And when that happens, you end up losing way more than you want. Last week, we talked about a $1,000 loss. 2 weeks ago, we talked about a $1,070 loss. And next week, we're going to talk about another probably big loss because we're going to end up covering GWSO tomorrow with whatever happens because it has a first green day and we're hoping it follows up. But either way, it's all about not getting lazy, not getting greedy, and sticking to the number one rule of cutting your losses, guys. So let's stick to that rule of cutting our losses. Make sure to get out when you're down, especially 10%. That's the ugliest we want you to see. But usually when you're down at your cut spot, about 6-7% at the most. So always want to stick to that rule. And what happens, guys, is when you don't stick to the rule, you really start to get emotional. And when you get emotional, it's just a whole different kind of game. You really start to look at stocks differently, and you start to look at stock trading in general differently. You start to think stocks are going to come back for some reason when there's really no reason for you to be thinking that. There's no pattern that it's lining up with anymore. And then the volume just disappears for most of them, and you still think they're going to come back. So it's crazy. You have this kind of skewed mentality, and what happens is now you're kind of married to this one stock where you don't even have eyes to look at other stocks or have money to even put your money into other stocks because you're so caught up in this one stock. So it's very important for you not to get so invested into one stock and as a stock sniper to move on, cut your losses, and continue to go. And we haven't been able to do that with two stocks. One really in particular, Bbkcf, we're not in the worst situation because we are going to stick to our cut now. We do have a plan there, and we actually don't have the biggest fill. So Bbkcf is not the biggest worry that we're talking about. But GWSO, we are trading with pure emotions. It's an emotional roller coaster for us. We've been down a good amount. We luckily got a first green day today. So let's talk about it just to show you guys what we're talking about. And if you check it out, this was the day we bought it. We were looking for a multi-month breakout. When we didn't get that multi-month breakout, guys, and the stock starts to push down on us, that is just ugly, ugly, ugly. And that is the day we need to get out, honestly. I mean, if we don't get out that day, we need to get out this bounce green day, because after that bounce green day, you're holding and hoping, and that's really what happened to us. We were looking for an $8 cut as worst case scenario. We wanted to really stick to 820 because that's what the support that I was holding the day before, but it just fell below that, and then it continued to fall. It literally bounced the next day, but it never bounced back above 8, and once that happened, we should have been out, because look at what happened. All emotions. So when you miss your cut, you really, what happened in my mindset and what usually happens to all you guys, and if it does happen, you guys can be like, oh, okay, now I realize everybody is human and emotions are a part of the game. But what happens is you think you're going to break out and you're up a little bit of money. The next day it comes crashing down instantly. So now let's dive in to show you what exactly I'm looking at. So boom, this is the breakout I think is going to happen. And then, damn, I instantly get this crashing down. And that's not what I want to see. I should have instantly on this day, weakness, got out 840. I've not got out 820. So a lot of discipline and a lot of mistakes here with a loss that easily could have been avoided or been avoided at $8. So two different spots we could have got out here, but we bag hold of the shit out of this stock. And that's not a good thing at all. But what happened with our emotions was when it did panic, we're freaking out now that it panics this far, but it starts to bounce. And when it bounces back to 780, getting close to $8, which was that emergency cut spot. So in our head, we're like, oh my God, we're down so much. It's the end of the world. This sucks so bad. Oh my God, we're getting a bounce. This might come back to our cut spot, and we actually might get out of this even, or at least where we wanted to get out. Now it drops even more the next day, and now you end up in that emotional roller coaster because it never gets back to that cut spot. And now you're just telling yourself, yeah, I think it's going to bounce. These ticks right here all the way up here are like no volume at all. So at the end of the day, if you really wanted to get out at this day, you'd be getting out at 760. And we really should have just been out there. But we're convinced in our head randomly that this is going to come back to 8 and break that spot. The next morning, it hits 8 and then just collapses. And now we have no volume at all. So after the day that it had tons of volume, now we have no volume at all. Luckily today we had a first green day, and that's kind of what we've been waiting for, was a first green day. We told ourselves $7 was going to be the cut, and then we got emotional when $7 came. So it's really kind of an emotional game, guys, and that's really what we don't want to end up with any of you guys in. This first green day is nice. We're going to use 650, I think, as the cut now. And that's really going to be it. If it goes back below 650, we really are going to try to get out here. The volume is so light here that it's hard to even get out with this stock. But maybe we can get one more green day, take it back into the 7s, and we can get out in the 7s. So we'll be checking out to try to get out of this stock finally. Hopefully we get one more green day here. On long-term chart, it is a first green day play. So maybe we will get a follow-up day back towards this area after holding that $6 spot. The next one we're in is Bbkcf, and this is a gut-wrenching one to talk about because we were actually up $900. So this is a stock we were up $900. Greed, just like Shopify. Should have easily taken that bag. This was 30 or 25%. So we didn't have the biggest fill here, but 25% on our money. Definitely want to take your money when you have 25%, especially in the span of 15 minutes. So we really made this money in 15-minute span, and we got a dip buy. It was interesting how this happened. We got a dip buy at 449, so it was like right about there. And then after it dips and fills us, it then goes. And when it starts to go, we tried to get a full fill, but we couldn't. And good thing we didn't, because the next day was so ugly. But it ended up pushing all the way up. Maybe if we got the full fill, we would have sold it because we would have been really appetized and really would have been nice. If we put what we wanted to in this stock, we actually would have been up about 2K at this spot, and then we probably would have got out because I would have been like, damn, 2K in 15 minutes, I had to. But it was $900 still. I should have been out there in 15 minutes, and we didn't end up getting out. And now it's just another emotional roller coaster that we're going through. You get the gap down. In the long-term chart, guys, we have key spots we wanted to hold. 42 is one spot. That's why we bought it in the first place, was because this was a multi-month breakout of 42. But 38 is the next spot, and that's the next multi-month breakout. And if you see what happens here, it holds 42 throughout the whole morning. We really should have been out here. This is what I mean about cutting your losses. could have been out even, or we could have even made money a little bit the next day. Instead, we hold until this day, and it drops below all the way to that 37 spot, 38 spot right away. No volume really came in, but at the end of the day, it held 38. So that's going to really be our next cut right there. It's going to be that 38 spot. No real volume came in, though. Maybe if the market bounces, Bitcoin can bounce and this stock can bounce. Maybe the merger with Ethereum gets Bitcoin to bounce a little bit. That's what we're kind of hoping for here, and that's why we really held this for one more day. But this is not the sniper strategy. It's all about getting out, especially when you're down, cutting your losses. That's how you avoid big losses. That's how you avoid wiping out your account, and that's how you avoid losing weeks, guys. And next week, I think we're definitely going to be talking about a losing week. Maybe not, because maybe we'll end up finding something really big and really good that we win on. But maybe we'll end up talking about a losing week because of those two trades. The last stock I'll talk about and what we're in overnight is Cybl. And Cybl is a nice one for us because it's a stock we've played over and over again. It's a stock, as you can see, has followed up in the past. That's always what you want to know is, can first green days have follow-up green days? Yes, this stock can. This has been one of my favorite follow-up Green Day days stocks ever. And honestly, I think we could possibly break 1.4 tomorrow, 1.45, if it doesn't push down instantly. Either way, though, if you look at the daily chart, we have a really nice cut of 116, 115. I mean, that 116 spot, it is held pretty much since yesterday. And 115, pretty much since yesterday. What's nice is 124 was also a resistance spot. We were looking for it to break. And it all happened at the end of the day, and that's when we decided to get into the stock. So we liked it. We had it on our watch list. We had it on the morning watch list. We had it on the sniper scope. It was one of the stocks that we were eyeing down for 2 days now. It just never got that volume. Now, ILIS does kind of move with, Cybl kind of moves with ILIS, and ILIS had a great, great day today and followed up nicely. So that's why we think this could also follow up, and that's also possibly why it ended up having this great spike at the end of the day. If it wasn't ILIS, what I do know 100%, because I'm not 100% if it was ILIS or not, what I do, factual statement that I do know 100% that moved the stock was the level twos and the bid and the ask. So if you checked out the bid on Cybl, guys, there was huge buyers coming in at 1.2. You were really looking at that 1.2 level, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, when it started to creep above 1.21, during power hour, you saw this big ass buyer at 119, I think it was. Stop. So 119, you had this huge buyer, and then all of a sudden the buyer started creeping up. And what I mean by huge buyer, stop it, is if you're looking at the level twos here, which I don't have any of the level twos pulled up, but always important to pay attention to the level twos, is it was $7 million, or not 7 million. It was 7 million shares that were inside that spot, and it kept moving up. And then even more millions of shares would move in. So it was interesting. You'd have this 7 million block guy that was trying to get filled in Cybl, and then you had more buyers coming in and in and in, pushing the stock up, 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 and it just continued to push to the end of the day. So it was beautiful to see the Cybl movement. And I loved seeing it. And this is one of those stocks, like I said, that we taken advantage of before. So we'd bought it at 125 when it broke 124. That was kind of our sign. Once we got the 124 break, let's buy it. It breaks out of 124, goes all the way up to 132. No, Naki. Goes all the way up to 132 to close out the day. So that is beautiful. We got a 4% cushion, a nice little cushion to close out the day. And what's better looking about it is on the long-term chart, it does look like it wants to follow up. Stop, buddy. Stop. So it does look like it does want to follow up here on this. So tomorrow, what we're looking for, like I said, is that 115 hold. But initially, you want to see it hold 125 because that's a key spot here. What are you doing? You want to see it hold that spot. So as long as it can hold that 125 spot, we'll look for it to continue to break out tomorrow. I mean, this one is a slower moving one. Sometimes it dips in the morning. As you can see, guys, sometimes it does have these wicks in the morning where it does slightly dip and then it takes off. So if it gets a slight dip, we're just going to stick to 115, 116 as our cut spot. Sorry about that, guys. All right, now let's dive in. I think we're gonna get into questions here, and we'll see what else we got. To close it out, actually, we talked about this last week, but the beauty of trading is the fact that you can do this on the go, or you can do this anywhere. Last week we had the Labor Day weekend, a long weekend. Why not take advantage of it and trade and travel? And we decided to do that in Georgia. It was a really good time. Marietta, Georgia, with a good friend's wedding. We actually got to see them get married. We tubed down the Chattahoochee River. It was like a 2.5-hour river ride on Friday. That's kind of why we weren't there for Power Hour. It was annoying. At the same time, it was a lot of fun, but annoying because we didn't have Wi-Fi and I didn't have my phone. I was on a river, and I thought the river was going to last from 1 to 3. It lasted from like 1 to 4:30. So the market was already closed. We couldn't really buy anything on Friday to close out the week, but whatever. It is what it is. And then we got to go to the Atlanta Braves game versus the Marlins, which that was a lot of fun too. Got to experience that. They won the World Series last year, so it's popping over there. Baseball's actually fun. Other than in South Florida, there's really not much going on with baseball. And we also made some money on PQEFF while we were over there. Next week, we're going to go over our monthly stats. We'll go over August, the last month. We'll go over last month of August and how we were able to profit $6,100 and 72% on our trades here. Before we finish it off, I'm going to talk about our current world events here. And those current world events are some from last week and then some are new. So we got the Russian-Ukraine war still going on. The Fed raised their interest rates for the actual 4 times this year, and they plan on doing it one more time after the CPI numbers just came out. CPI data was not good at all. We had our first positive numbers in August in a long time, and then we were back to worse than expected when we just went over in September. So pretty annoying. We got to celebrate a nice little spike in the market in August after that, and then we crashed completely yesterday, having the worst day in the stock market since June 2020. But really what I want to highlight, and that's the most important thing I want to highlight on this list, is Bitcoin and Ethereum fall, but the big merger just happened, or I mean, it's happening tomorrow. I mean, there's like different websites that tell you different things, but it's about to happen. So it's happening at midnight, I'm pretty sure, and then it's going to start happening until the next day. So we'll see what happens with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Maybe the price spikes, maybe it doesn't, but there's something big that's happening. It's supposed to make Ethereum a bigger, better coin. So we'll see if it does that exactly. I mean, you never know. You never know with these coins. And then all those altcoins, all those patterns that we talk about, first green days, they really do work out for those. So when Bitcoin starts to get hot, if you do have some money in that altcoin world still, because I know some people dabbled in there and then just forget about it, check out our patterns. Maybe they'll end up working out whenever Bitcoin sector does start to heat back up. So let's go over questions. Before we dive into questions, I always like to talk about our long broker is TD Ameritrade. We like them because of their platform Thinkorswim. We honestly wouldn't be able to make the profit we made without Thinkorswim. So big shout out to them. They have a great app as well on your phone. So not just on your computer you can trade, you also can trade really nicely on your phone. We still make most of our buys and sells on our phone, even though we're looking at the computer. So happens all the time. So check out Thinkorswim if you have not yet. Our broker, short broker, is Interactive Brokers. We always recommend you to learn the long side first. You can go long and short on Interactive Brokers, but definitely learn the long side first and then possibly get some money, extra funds, and then come over to Interactive Brokers when you're ready to start shorting stocks. They do let you short OTCs. Sniper University, great course, start from scratch, full training guide, everything we believe you know to get started in the market. 7 chapters long, 7 hours. Stock market, pretty much everything. Stock market psychology, how to set up your broker, the sniper patterns. Definitely want to check that out if you haven't yet. Instagram, follow us on social media. We got Stock Snipers on Instagram, YouTube Stock Snipers, Twitter Stock Sniper Team, TikTok Stock Snipers, Facebook Stock Snipers, and the Stock Snipers on LinkedIn. And now let's dive into questions and let's finish this thing out. We actually reached the whole hour here. So great work there, guys, with the little distractions from my dog. Sorry about that. But let's dive into questions. Let's see what we got. Let's go. On the lunch break, making moves. I love it. If we saw 380, that would be amazing. I'm looking for like 389. I really kind of want to see it double bottom at that spot that it did a couple weeks ago. So 389 is really going to be that spot on the SPY that I'm looking for it to come back down to. We'll see if it can do that tomorrow. And if it doesn't, if it drops tomorrow, I'm hoping it does 2 red days. One tomorrow and then another one on Friday where we could take advantage of the turnaround. So hopefully we can do that. Yeah. Yeah, Ghost. So that's exactly what we were just talking about. I have a weird feeling that could have been Sniper Jack Kellogg. I kind of know about his buying stuff, and I know he loves CYBL, especially when he was with us trading. He was a big fan of CYBL. That was like a stock of his that he said that he was actually paying attention to a lot. So that actually could have been him trying to get in at the end of the day. He usually gets in big size, so he was possibly dragging up. We'll see. Yeah, that's a great question too. It can just possibly disappear. I mean, think about it. If it is Jack Kellogg and he wants to buy, and then all of a sudden it goes too high, he's just going to swipe it and it's going to disappear. That's something you want to pay attention to, and that's something you want to put into factor tomorrow. When we wake up tomorrow, we're going to be looking to see if that guy is there, especially if it comes back down to 125 instantly. We're going to be looking for that guy. If it comes down to 1-2, we're going to be looking for that guy. If we never see that guy, that's when we're going to try to sell. If we do see that guy will end up being our cut spot for the most part, and he will most likely be able to drag the stock back. But it's very, very situational. Every stock is different. Every time is different. And that is a great question there because that does happen often because it is a human being that's buying that stock. And maybe all of a sudden he doesn't want to buy it all of a sudden. You know, he was trying to buy it on a first green day pattern, you know, when it was hot yesterday. And then he's maybe trying to buy it today, and then it ends up the volume dies out. Maybe he just deletes it too. So that can possibly happen, and it's important for you to pay attention to that bid and ask and those level 2s so you can keep an eye and make sure all that goes well. Definitely a bundle of joy. He's a hard-working guy. I gotta have to do a lot with him, but he's awesome. I love having the dog. Especially after work when you kind of just get with them and you can just hang out. I feel that those bidders sometimes are fake. That is why I chased a little, but not getting filled. My whole order decided to sell at the end. Yeah, if you want to sell, that was a nice push. Either way, though, I like this one to push the 1-4, and you have a nice cut spot, Chamo. So that's the kind of thing about this one is it did get that push. You were able to make profit, but you still had a nice cut. So like even if you ended up not selling, you still can feel comfortable with your cut spot. So try not to sell every time on the way up. But nice work, guys. If you guys do want to take that bag, I like it. Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, guys, this is a harder time in the market. We're not playing with anything hot. So take what you got. Try to get 8 to 10% though, because if you're not putting as much into these stocks, you need to get a little more out of them to profit from them. So at least put 3K in them if you're taking 4 or 5%. You need to at least putting 3,000 in them, or at least try to put 2,000 in them if you're taking 5% wins, because that's $100. So try to stick with that just to try to grow your account. If not, it's gonna be tough to grow your account. Let's see. Let's see what else we got. What other questions we got? I've been watching the wrong stocks today. For example, Shada brought it up, Eyeless, but I was so glued to it. Yeah, Eyeless, and it was on the morning watch list, guys. Try to pay attention to those morning watch list stocks. Those are definitely ones that end up working out. Eyeless was beautiful runner. It held 10 cents. 10 cents is a key spot on any stock. And with Eyeless, guys, I don't know if you guys remember, but we made that big panic dip buy with Jack Kellogg. That was off of 10 cents. So as long as they were able to hold 10 cents, the stock was going to be able to go, and that's exactly what happened there in Eyeless. No, you're never making too much noise. Yeah, honestly, if you want to be a scalper, you could be a scalper for sure. Just try to size up, put a little more money into it if you are going to be that. Exactly, size up. See, you already know. If you want to be a scalper, because everyone's different. So if you get good at finding 5% over and over and over again, you can do that. Just make sure you're sizing up if you're going to do that. So Eyeless has had a lot of news on Twitter. There really hasn't been too much news that broke out on Thinkorswim, but there's a lot of news going around on Twitter. Dilution, that they're like taking away shares. So they do have potential pumping. Maybe they will be able to continue to run. I wanted to buy it around 10.5, 10.8. Once I couldn't get that spot, I wasn't going to go chase it at 11.5 and 12 cents. But it ends up looking like a great play, and it could definitely follow up. And if it follows up tomorrow, I know CYBL for sure will follow up. So I am rooting for Eyeless to continue to run. And honestly, when all those stocks, when other old OTC stocks run, you'll see that start to happen to other old OTC stocks. So maybe Eyeless will start to bring more attention to other old OTC stocks. I think you could potentially dip tomorrow back to like 115, but I'm looking for a good run, hopefully. Yeah, CYBL was acting like Bbkcf, but remember, Bbkcf spiked 25%. CYBL, on the other hand, only spiked like 7%. So that's two different things. Spiking 25%, you got to take that. That's just us being greedy, also not getting fulfilled. But still, no matter what, that was us being greedy. 25%, 20% or more, even 15% or more, you take that and I'll be happy with it. But if that spikes 7%, you could still be a little more patient. Either way, though, great work there on taking the bag there on CYBL. It's all about finding winners in a tough market, guys. The market's been crashing, and the fact that you guys were able to find a winner in CYBL in the ugly times is what it's all about. So great work this week, snipers. That is pretty much everything. I'm pretty sure that's all the questions. That's everything we got. I always like to say, oh, shout out to my man Sniper Saucy. I was actually gonna shout him out in a couple of weeks. He'll be back in October. So if you guys don't know about Sauce Boy, he'll be back in October trading with us again. He's gonna actually be going back to Peru. He's having a kid there. It's gonna be awesome stuff. And yeah, be on the lookout. We actually had a webinar with him and a YouTube video we made of him. But definitely go check him out. He'll be in the chat room really soon with us. But let's head out here. I always like to say, never judge someone on how they fall. Always judge them and how they get back up. So that's very, very important thing. Everyone's going to fall, especially in this game. Everyone's going to lose. But how are we going to get back up, and how are we going to continue to strike? How are we going to continue to win? Continue to stay to the plan. Stay the course. That's what I always like to say. It's a good song by Iration. Stay the course. Likes to make me think about the sniper plan and how we are. All right, guys. Much love to everyone out there. Let's keep grinding. Great week. Another great webinar in the books. I'll see you guys back here for another weekly Wednesday webinar next week. Stock Sniper Mike, out. Peace.